Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar on Ad Grants Simplified, Actionable Strategies to Drive Traffic, Donations, and Grow Your Donor Base. My name is Jenna Notar Francesco. I am an account executive at CauseVox, and I am thrilled to host this webinar today. We will be joined by Chris Barlow, who is the Customer Happiness Director at Beeline, and he has so many tips on using digital marketing to multiply your donor base. So yeah, just hang tight. We will be with you in just a couple minutes, and yeah, stay tuned. Hi, everyone. We are going to start in just a minute or so. So I wanted to get everybody on time to get on and jump on the call. So yeah, Chris has joined us, and yeah, we're so happy to welcome him. And so while we're waiting for more friends to join, feel free to chat in where you're from, your name, your organization, and maybe, one thing you're hoping to get out of today's webinar, or maybe a question you might have. We're so excited that you're here to join us today. I am currently in Queens, New York City. It's a very sunny day and lovely here. I hope wherever you are enjoying your day and just have a great time to maybe take a break from work with us. So yeah, it's going to be a great time. Hello, Terry. Glad to have you with us here today. And Kayla, She's the First. Oh my gosh, that was one of the first nonprofits I was familiar with in college. So love that org. So yeah, let's get started learning a little bit about CauseVox for those of you who are new. So CauseVox is a digital fundraising platform that's designed to help make fundraising easier for small to medium to large organizations. And we do that with best-in-class online fundraising. You can run your donation forms, mobile payments, campaigns, ticketing, peer-to-peer, all in one place. So we make it super simple for you. We also have hands-on one-on-one support for all users. So you have, real people answering your requests. Yeah, I think Chris, sorry, I'm just going to interrupt. Yeah, we can't hear you right now, but
I'm right here, Jenna. Can you hear me?
Awesome. I can hear you. Yes.
Awesome. Can you see me?
I can see you. Yes.
Awesome. Perfect.
Amazing. Glad it worked out. Okay,
yes.
So yeah, so I'll just keep going here real quick, and then I'm going to turn over the mic to you. So we also have top rating fundraising education in the form of guides, templates, and webinars like this one, because we just want to help empower organizations to learn more and more about the digital fundraising and marketing, connection, how to do those two things really well married together. And so, yeah, again, we just replace clunky, complex software. So our products, in terms of our donation forms and pages, you can run one-time donations, recurring donations, pledges. You have many payment method options. So like up to 5 different options for your donors to pay with PayPal, Venmo, Google Pay, Apple Pay, ACH bank transfer, regular credit card, debit card. So giving them the flexibility to pay the way they want to. And then everything's included there: auto receipts, customizable branding, and covering the fees. You can even sell tickets at the same time or run hands-free peer-to-peer. So if you're interested in learning more about how you can, translate these people who you're engaging with and translate your supporters into actual donors, check out our tour of CauseVox. You can go to our schedule a demo page and watch one of our pre-recorded demos, or you can actually sign up for a time with me and we can talk one-on-one about how CauseVox can be used to multiply your donor base. And then if you want more free fundraising tips, we would suggest to subscribe to our blog, where we send out weekly EDU emails where we have articles, webinars like this, a bunch of stuff being promoted. So you're going to want to take a look at that free education. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And again, reintroduce Chris Barlow, the Customer Happiness Director at Beeline. And he has spent many years working with organizations, helping them to use digital marketing to, just expand their donor base and increase their growth. So welcome, Chris. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Jenna. It's great to be here with you. And I'm excited to share with all of you about the ad grant programs. And I'm sure you've heard a lot about these. And so this is for many of you joining today, many of you who are listening to the recording, the idea of Google Grant, other ad grant programs may not feel that exciting or new, but I know that what I have to share is fairly helpful. It's going to be a new approach that you probably haven't heard about, and it will answer some big questions that a lot of us have about whether these programs are helpful. So I want to take you from either confusion or frustration because you've tried these programs before and haven't seen success, and you just don't think they're really worthwhile, or maybe you just don't know much about them, and you've heard about them, or you wondered, what can I get from these? Or maybe you've never heard about them before. Well, this is for wherever you're coming from today. I want to take from there to just exciting ideas that are achievable with these programs, and a really clear, here's a way forward for us. So before we get into what we should do, just very briefly, the ad grant programs, there's currently two that are very accessible for most nonprofits. That's the Google Ad Grant Program. It provides $10,000 a month in free ads for 501c3s, and the Microsoft Ads for Social Impact Program. They provide $1,000 a month with an option to go higher if you put some real money behind them as well, in addition to the grant. And they appear on the search platforms Google and Bing. You can see an example of that ad in this slide here. I searched cat adoption, and the first result was an ad. And usually if there are ads that appear, it's 3 to 4 ads total. The main difference between the two programs is that Google their grant program gives you unused space. Basically, any keywords that paying advertisers aren't targeting, or maybe they've ran out of budget for the day to target, then the grant ads can show. So it's either, again, keywords that are not as competitive, or keywords that paying advertisers they run out of budget for. With the Microsoft Ads for Social Impact, their grant, it actually provides a $1,000 a month coupon code to a real Bing account where you can bid on any kinds of keywords, even those that paying advertisers are wanting. But once you use up that coupon, it will start charging you real money. So you have to manage that well if you want to just remain on the free side. So before if we want to understand how we can get results from these ad programs, and we can drive new donations, new donors, if we can even do that, we need to think about these platforms in the first place. And I want to ask this question, and please feel free to put your answers in the chat. Why do people go here? Why do people go to Google? Why do people go to Bing in the first place? What do you guys think? Again, put your answers in the chat. And kind of maybe a stupid question, but it actually is important for us understanding the strategy. Have it fast answer, right? Getting a fast answer. It's simple. What else? Why do I go to Google and search? What am I looking for? Resources, information, right? I want to solve a problem. I want to answer a question, or I want to watch a cat video. Okay, entertainment, any kind of entertainment, right? But when we advertise, we sometimes forget that. We sometimes think that people are going onto Google and are just wanting to be really helpful, and that people search for the keyword donate to nonprofit. And people do search for that, but most people aren't going on to Google most of the time to search for these terms. And you can see that this term has 3 ads that I just screenshotted. There's more. And you can see that the kinds of nonprofits who want this keyword and are trying to show up for it are very different. You have one that's Feed Hungry Children and another the Nature Conservancy. And so the problem is that the general terms that would lead people to us that we think, one, not very many people are looking for them necessarily. That's not why most of us are turning to Google most of the time. And two, it's a very competitive landscape. Every nonprofit wants those terms. But in a social situation, we kind of know how to meet new people and how to build relationships. We learn it growing up. Some of us are natural at really connecting with new people. If you're at a party, if you're at a gathering, if you're at a conference, and you see someone you want to meet across the room, we don't just think, well, if I stand here and smile and hope that they come to us, we'll definitely get to meet them that way. Or if I have a sign up with my name on it, that they'll see my name and want to talk to me. They're looking for someone new to talk to, so they'll come talk to me. No, we don't do that. That would be funny. That'd be maybe they come talk to us because it's weird. But we know that if we want to meet someone, we go to them. We walk up to them. We ask them about themselves. We ask them their name. We show interest in who they are. And so we know inherently that the key to starting a relationship with people is for us to think about them. And I can boil this down, this concept, into a phrase that I think is useful for Google and Microsoft ad grants. I think it's useful for any of your marketing. I think it's useful for your fundraising. It's applicable across your organization. And we're going to see how we can apply it today with the ad grant programs. And it's this: if you serve people, they'll be attracted to you. So make it part of your mission to serve your donors too. So again, we're going to look at how do we serve people through using Google and Microsoft ads in order to attract them to us, and how can we connect that with our mission. But before we go into that, I want to just, from a high level, look at what these platforms are in terms of what are realistic expectations that we should have for them. What are achievable goals, meaningful goals? Well, let's start with what they can't do. Well, they can't generally bring donations. They can't generally work immediately, and they don't require no effort. They require effort. But I put an asterisk by all three of those because there's exceptions to all of them. And I want to get into some of those. So these can'ts aren't 100% certain. What can you expect, though, from these programs? Well, you can expect to see thousands of new site visitors to your website per platform. If you have both grants, then both platforms can bring you thousands of new site visitors. You can get 100 to 300 new subscribers added to your email list, to your audience every month for each platform. And you can add and see hundreds of new donors each year. Again, there's an asterisk by that because there's some things that you do need to have in place to achieve that. The programs themselves, the ads themselves may not bring you those donations and new donors directly, but they may. There's some ways that we're going to look about how they can do that. So again, how do you serve people so that they'll be attracted to us? How do we get these kinds of results? Well, let's go back to that question I asked. Why do people go to Google or Bing? Well, people go there to, again, answer a question, to solve a problem, to be entertained. So can we take something that takes our mission and our expertise and our knowledge as an organization and create something that our potential donors want, that would serve their needs? Can we put something together that will help us meet their needs and start a relationship with them, i.e. giving them a reason to want to subscribe, to want to follow us, to want to be on our email list and be in our audience? And then whatever that reason we gave them to subscribe, whatever resource we offered to them, whatever help or way that we're serving them, is also a natural segue and connection to sharing our mission and our story with them. Because the way we've helped them gives them a taste of the mission. Maybe they can't, or they aren't the people we're trying to serve through our full mission. But that's not what we're about, but we can use the values from our mission and our expertise that we have in fulfilling our programs to serve them in some small way. So here's two examples. You have a Jewish food bank who wanted to reach out and find new donors. And so their donors aren't people who are struggling to put food on the table, but they said, look, we could create a recipe book that gives people better
holidays and better family meals, because we can help them do some of that hard work of finding those recipes that they really want for the special occasion, that are curated, well edited, without all the ads that they're going to find on a website, that are, again, like I said, curated. They've come from authorities or well tested recipes, and we can send this to them as a way to thank them for subscribing, to encourage them to do so, and to be able to share our story with them and say, look, we created this book because it's part of who we are as an organization. We give people more meaningful meals, or especially around the holidays, because instead of just like they have the very basic necessities, we bring them freshly baked bread, or we bring them flowers, or we bring them things that just add that special touch, that say, you're important, even if you can't afford, like, this day is important for you and your family. Or we want to give you dignity. We don't want you to be asking, how are we going to have enough to celebrate? And so we want to do that for you as a potential donor, or as a person who just is interested in this topic. Maybe you're culturally Jewish, maybe you're Orthodox Jewish, wherever you're coming from. On the other side, you can see we put together a parenting strengths assessment. This is an organization that serves parents, and they provide parent coaching, they provide online courses. But they said, look, we want to help every parent, so we have this free assessment. Figure out what you're doing really well as a parent. We want to encourage you, point those areas of strength out. And also at the same time, we can send some resources to you where you might be weak and you could grow and need some pointers and direction. So again, these organizations are just some examples, and we'll get into some more examples later. But how do we go about this process of creating this? Well, we need to start with thinking about, what do our donors want? And so the first thing we can do is search for other content that's out there and see what other people, other organizations, other companies have created. We think about some different topics we could help people about, again, in line with our subject matter expertise, and just say, okay, let's search Google, let's search YouTube, let's search social media and see what's out there. And the more you find, the more results there is for a particular topic, the more supply there is, there's probably a correlation to the demand. And again, you're trying to find something that has a lot of demand. So if there's a lot of content out there on a specific topic, don't let that discourage you from creating your own thing, from putting your own resource together, because you have your own voice, you have your own unique experiences with which to serve potential donors. And I have this picture here of a fly fisherman, because I love to fly fish. And when a fisherman, if they want to be successful in catching fish, they have to consider, like, okay, where am I going to go fish? What time of year is it? If they have experience fishing there before, they know, like, what have the fish liked in the past? What kind of flies have they responded to? And they'll also like go and look at the current conditions and say, okay, is the sun out shining? Is the water really smooth? Is there no wind? The fish are a little skittish, or maybe like they're definitely underwater deep down there. I need to get the fly down there. Or are they jumping and biting on the surface? And are there certain flies that are hatching right now? So a fisherman thinks about all those things. Otherwise, he's going to be out there casting his line into the water and not catching anything. And so we need to do the same thing. Think about, what do our donors want? So again, seeing what content's already out there. Another thing we can do is use a tool that Google provides called the Keyword Planner. It's free. You can access it if you already have a Google ad account, whether it's a grant or a paid account. You don't need to put in credit card information if you don't have a Google account. You can create one, ads.google.com, and you can just find the Keyword Planner right here. You can see the two instructions I showed you. Step 1, click Tools and Settings, and then the Keyword Planner. And you can just enter in keywords and get an idea of how many searches are happening in a given month. And you can set the location. So you can say for your city, for your state, for all of the US, for the world, wherever, and just say, okay, this topic is getting a lot of people searching for it. I think there's some demand here. I think that people are looking for answers on this. And so there's enough demand that if we create a resource, if we ran ads to it, people are probably going to be finding it on Google. And even if we don't capture all that traffic, we're not going to get all those searches. We're going to get some of them. And that's all really that your goal is. It's just to find something that people are going to respond to. So that's a really, really helpful way to get a quantitative kind of market research, free. It's quick. You can just do some research, and it takes you a couple hours, and you have an idea. Okay, this is where a topic where we could really serve people and help them with a resource. And then the next thing you can create the next thing you can do is put together a survey. I don't have a slide for this, and just send an email to your current donor base, to your current email list, and say, we're thinking about creating a list or creating a resource along one of these different topics. What this kind of topic, this kind of resource, this kind of solution, which one would be most helpful to you? And based on their response, you can get some qualitative data. You can say, okay, we're getting a lot of people searching for this topic. Our donors are saying this would be helpful to them. This would probably be the right kind of resource for us to create. That way, you know, if we're going to create a guide, if we're going to create a checklist, if we're going to create an ebook, whatever, or quiz, whatever the format it takes, we know it's something that our audience will respond to. We know it's something that people are looking for. And then let me just, again, I mentioned I'd give some examples. Let me just throw out some more just to get your ideas flowing. And during our Q&A, if you want to share what your organization does and you're having trouble coming up with what you could create, I'm happy to do some group brainstorming and come up with some stuff. I've yet to really find a sector or an organization that we couldn't come up with some kind of resource or idea that would actually help people. So if you're in the arts or culture sector, you could maybe create a little guide on how to visit museums in your city for free, or the different kinds of museums and who they're good for, whether groups or small groups or what age level, or just kind of help people navigate, and then you could also attract them to your museum. If you're in the animal sector, you could create a guide on things you can do today to help endangered species. So you could target people who are searching Google for endangered species or specific kinds of animals that are endangered. And then they could see this guide and download it because it will help them know what they can do, what's something hands-on they can do today. If you're in the religious sector, you could have a little guide on how to talk to your kids about blank, whatever that tough topic might be, and maybe your faith has some answers to those questions. Just helping parents or individuals or how to have a conversation about a sensitive topic without offending people. Just how to ask good questions and be a good listener, and have those kinds of exchanges that we really all need. Human services. Maybe you have an interactive guide to experience a day in the life of someone from a different economic situation than yourself. And help people understand what that looks like, and the kinds of questions and the kinds of skills you develop if you're in that situation. How you can live and feed a lot of people on a much smaller budget than like a lot of people are used to, and just the kinds of worldview and ways of seeing the world that are going to be very different. Or if you're in the scientific sector, you could create a scientific method checklist. How do you apply this to your everyday life? If you want some more ideas, I'm going to share later about our digital ebook, How to Use Digital Marketing to Find New Donors, and it has a ton more examples in it. So again, these ads are great for growing your email list. Again, I mentioned up front, you could get 100 to 300 new subscribers. But the question that I think a lot of organizations are asking, I've asked is, can you use these platforms, can you use these grants to get new donors? And I'm going to answer that right now. In that, the answer is yes and no. No, you shouldn't expect that strangers are going to find you throughout the year. They're looking for a nonprofit to donate to. They're going to see your ad and decide to give to you. But you can try to get new donors from these campaigns, from these platforms, from these grants. And there are two ways to do so. And I'm going to talk about one way and then share a little bit about how that works. And then we'll get to another entirely different strategy on how to get new donors. And we'll come back to that later. So the first of all, though, the people who just subscribed to your email list in exchange for the resource you offered, you can actually turn those people immediately into donors. And that's through what I call an instant donation thank you page. That's not my own actually wording or terminology. That comes from a company called Next After, and they developed the idea behind this. I love their stuff. I highly recommend you check them out. And they have an online course on instant donation thank you pages. So after I've shared with you about this on a high level, if you're like, oh, we want to do this, then go check out their online course. But I think there's enough that I'm sharing with you here that you might be able to take some of this and implement it. But let me explain how this works. So as soon as they've downloaded or requested access to or filled in the form, you send them to a page and you tell them, you affirm that action. You thank them for taking that action. You let them know their promised resource is on its way to their inbox. In this particular example from a nonprofit we worked with, we created an ebook with them, and their nonprofit had did work along the lines of helping students to have travel experiences who would never be able to afford it, and kind of develop them as leaders and experience have a cross-cultural experience that will help them grow. So ebook is on its way. You just let people know you don't have to do anything more. You filled in your name and email, you're done. So just this, they can stop now. They can leave the page. You're keeping your end of the promise. You're not now baiting and switching, asking them to do more. However, before they go and leave this page and start reading the ebook or the resource that you're sending, you let them know before you go do that, there's something we want to tell you. This quiz or this ebook or this resource is made possible because of people who support our mission, and we're thankful for them. And this is who we are. We're a nonprofit. We're supported by donors who help us make this resource free and help us to fulfill our mission. And you can summarize that in a short sentence. Now, through this resource, the digital guide that you just got, hundreds of people can access it to do A, B, and C. The kinds of things that you may have already put on your website on the page where they downloaded it. You explain again. We said this book would help you do this. Now we're saying it's not just you who can do this. We're also trying to reach hundreds of other people with this same resource. But in order to reach these people, they have to hear about this resource. And we need financial support to help us share it with more. Would you consider donating? And so your donation ask isn't, would you support our mission? You're not trying to go into that right now. You're not trying to get them to think about something again that's not related to them. You're saying, if you thought this resource could be helpful to you, if you're excited about the fact that we could make it possible to give it to you for free, we put the money, the time, the effort into creating it, and you think other people might benefit from it, would you help us do that? And so this is just a great, and you can embed your donation form, which CauseVox makes really easy to create, as Jenna was sharing, so that they can just donate right there on that page without leaving. You don't have to have a big ask. The goal is to just give them a chance. If some people are going to feel really happy to pay it forward. But even if they don't give, we've hit our ultimate goal. And what is that goal? Well, maybe it's obvious by now, but let me answer what our ultimate goal is by asking a question. Which fundraising channel has the highest return on investment? Anyone guess? Any educated guesses here? Anyone know between online fundraising, in-person events, direct mail, email? Yeah, Jessica and Jeremy, you got it. It's email. Email has, and this is in the business space too, for every dollar spent on email, it has an average of $40 returned. And so it's the marketing channel with the highest ROI, and it's also, again, the highest, most effective fundraising channel. So that means that effective digital fundraising starts by getting new subscribers. And so even if that person doesn't donate on the instant donation page, they're now a subscriber. And so our goal now is to build that relationship with them through email. Work through, send them emails that build them up, that encourage them, that equip them, that share resources with them, and start telling your story. And that will also help us cultivate new donors. So that's one way we can get new donors, through our Google grant and our Microsoft grant. But let's go back to the question I asked earlier, where I said that you can, or should you, use these directly to get donations. And I explained that people don't usually go to the platforms to search for a random nonprofit to donate to. Or do people do that? Actually, there is a time that people might be thinking about they want to donate to you, and they're searching for you, or they're searching for a nonprofit to donate. They don't know yet. They're just looking for ideas for a nonprofit they want to give to. And there's a specific time where this is particularly effective. Can anyone guess when this might be or why this might be? Any ideas? When might be people thinking about nonprofits to give to, especially even like nonprofits they don't know of? Christmas, Giving Tuesday, year end. Yeah, year end, especially at Giving Tuesday. So year end is certainly a time frame we can do this. And I want to talk about specifically giving days. Now, most of us know about Giving Tuesday, and most donors do too. And that's awesome because of that awareness. But it's also a problem because if you hope to attract new people to you through the awareness that's created by Giving Tuesday, so does every other nonprofit. And many of those orgs have much larger budgets. But there's still an opportunity for us in local giving days. Many cities, many states promote regions promote a local giving day, as you all know, and nonprofits can get support from their local region, from their neighbors, and they don't have to compete against the entire US, against much bigger organizations. So Google and Bing ads are perfect for this kind of approach and this kind of campaign. So when someone is searching on during that campaign for a nonprofit to support or information about the giving day itself or the specific work that you do, this is a great time for your ads to help them find you. So we ran a local Giving Day campaign for an organization called Code Art on Give Miami Day this past November. And here were some of the results. They raised almost $57,000. They had 184 total donors, 84 first-time donors, and of those 184, 40 of them came from their Google ad campaign. So, the majority came from other sources, but their Google ad campaign made a meaningful contribution. And Code Art has been doing this for multiple years, and they just wanted to take the results to the next level. So Give Miami Day wasn't new to them. So I think, I just want to say all that because, this isn't, I don't know how well every organization would do with their local Giving Day, but the fact that they were able to get 40 new donors, 20 new donations from this campaign was really excellent given what they had to invest. And we'll get to that. So what was the strategy that they followed? Well, we created a special landing page for Give Miami Day. That way visitors who didn't know them knew they were looking at a nonprofit who was participating. And so there was some consistency for those people. They were searching for Give Miami Day. They click on an ad. They see a page about Give Miami Day and about Code Art. And Code Art shares their value proposition, why you should give to us. And so the page matched what the visitor was looking for. It matched the look and feel for both Code Art's brand and for Give Miami Day. And so again, someone who wasn't familiar still had a sense of familiarity. And then we set up a Google search ad campaign for them. And we didn't just use their grant, we used a paid budget. And the reason for this is, again, even though they're not competing against the entire US, this is going to be a particularly competitive time frame, competitive keywords. So we wanted to put some paid budget behind it, but there wasn't much budget we had to put in. They had a budget of $250. And that was we ran the ads for the week of, but really we only needed to run ads. I mean, generally, you only need to run ads for the most effective days is the day of and the day after. And then the other thing we set up was conversion tracking, just ensuring that if someone clicked to donate, that data was sent back to Google so that Google knew, okay, these keywords in this ad led to a conversion, and these are the best, like these keywords in this ad is what should be emphasized. This is where your budget should go. Google knows which ones to give impressions to because those are the ones leading to results and ensuring you start getting a positive feedback loop from your ads. We targeted terms like Give Miami Day, nonprofit donation, Code Art, coding nonprofit, nonprofit for girls. And again, the process kind of speaks for itself. It took about 3 to 4 weeks to set things up. And so they had $283. Their ads were seen 3,300 times. They had about 250 visits to the landing page and 40 people who clicked to donate. So that's just to give you an idea of what's possible with a small budget and how you can get direct donations. So as some of you put, year end would also be another appropriate time frame. You have to be a little more strategic because you won't have the consistency or that direct understanding of, I'm looking for this particular giving day information about it. I want to find a nonprofit to give to. If they're just looking for an end of year donation, you have to really help guide that from their searcher, someone who doesn't know you, to the ad, to the page they land on. So if this could be helpful to you, if you want to follow this process for your own organization of increasing and growing your email list consistently with the ad grant programs, of getting new donors, whether you use an instant donation page or you use your Giving Day campaigns, then download our free ebook at yourbeeline.com. It's on our homepage, or you can take our quiz. which will tell you whether your organization is eligible for the Google and Microsoft ad grant programs and whether they're a good fit for you right now. And if they're not a good fit, the quiz will tell you and say, this isn't the right time. Don't necessarily invest a lot of effort into these right now. And then you have a really good blueprint for what to follow step by step, more helpful than these slides. And you can just kind of figure out, okay, what resource should we create? What the book will also tell you is, how do we follow up with people via email? How do we start to build that relationship? It'll give you more step by step, like a template that you can use for an instant donation page. So those are some of the main things that you can get from that. But I want to open it up to Q&A now, answer any questions that I can. And if there's anything that doesn't get answered, I'm going to drop into the chat right now our email. And so if I can't get to a question or you just want to ask me something offline, then you can email me here at this address. So thank you again all for your time. And yeah, let's open it up to Q&A.
Yeah, thank you so much, Chris. Wow, I just love how practical all the examples were that you gave. So I think, yeah, let's dive into some questions. It looks like Lindsay had a question. She's saying, can you clarify, are you saying we should send direct to the Gives Day campaign website or to our specific nonprofit page or create a landing page on our own website?
That is a great question. Thank you for clarifying that. I recommend creating a page on your own website. And the main reason, well, it's kind of tricky because with your grant, you have to use your own domain. With a paid account, there may be some exceptions or you can get certain URLs approved. I still recommend sending them to your own website and then letting people know if the way that your giving day doesn't allow you to have people donate on your site, then yes, then have that page lead them to your donation page on the Giving Day organization's page. If the ideal situation is if they want the donations to happen through that main organization, that they give you an embeddable donation form that you can put onto your site.
Awesome.
Someone I see in the Q&A, someone meant to say this. Winston, thank you. The Microsoft Ad Grant program is currently suspended. They've been communicating. They've been it's a new program. It started last fall. They closed off new applicants or like in the end of the year. They've been saying they want to reopen it. They've been making changes and adjustments to the program. It was a $3,000 a month grant. Now it's a $1,000 a month grant with some caveats that you could potentially get more. And they're just trying to make it sustainable for them, for their intake, for their onboarding team. So they definitely intend to make this, as far as I can tell, and far as they've said, a long-term program. So if you want to know when Microsoft reopens their grant program, just send me an email and I'll send an announcement as soon as that goes out. Or if you download that book, you will definitely get also an announcement when Microsoft reopens.
Paloma's asking, can our small team monitor Google Ads after they've been approved, thinking in terms of compliance, or do we need external support from a marketing firm? Okay.
So I highly recommend, if you're on a very limited budget, that you consider hiring a firm for 1 to 3 months to get you set up. And what you have to expect is that if your ads and campaign are not if nothing more than just the basic monitoring is happening, the quality will slowly degrade. Having said that, we have organizations where we've set up campaigns for them, and it's been 2 years. They didn't have the budget to hire us long term, and they're still getting results from it. They're getting like 50 to 80 new subscribers a month. And I think if we were optimizing, if we were working with them, they'd be more like 200 a month. So it would be significantly more, but at the same time, they're not having to do anything. They just go in and monitor. And if there's an issue, they can try to take care of it themselves, or Google has volunteers that can help with some kinds of things too. But that's my recommendation.
Do you know if there's like a helpline or support at the Google Ad Grant with Google Ad Grants?
There is support. It's mainly via email. They are responsive. You have to go into your account and there's a support option. And some accounts I find have the option to email or chat. Most some also the only option is to contact the community and post on a community forum. There are really helpful people who respond, some experts who respond on those. If you can't contact the support team directly, at least you can contact via email, and I always hear back within the same day, just at least an initial response.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Do you know if this can, if it works for charities based in Africa or out abroad?
Yes, it is. There is a list. Let me see if I can drop into this chat the list where the countries where it's available. Yeah, so I'm gonna put this here and you can see if it applies to your country. I put it in the Q&A. I'll put it in the chat too.
I can put it in the chat for you. Oh, you got it. Okay, awesome. Jessica is asking, what's the best way to track conversions from ads? For example, we can track if a person clicks on a donate button, but not necessarily if they complete the donation. Is there a workaround for that?
Okay, so yeah, Jessica, that's a good question. So it depends. If you're tracking donations on your own website, then there are multiple ways to track. The most simplest and basic thing you can do is, and it also depends on the donation software that you're using, is to direct someone to a thank you page after they complete the donation. And at the very minimum, then you can confirm and track that there is a new donor. There are ways to set up purchase tracking, so you can track the amounts given. And your donation software, if it's a good one, should have a way to let you send tracking data back into Google. And that way you get all that data captured. Yeah.
And I'll just say for CauseVox, you can apply tracking codes on the CauseVox donation forms. It's very simple. It's through Meta Business Suite.
Perfect.
So we can actually track that really simply for you, so you can calculate your conversion. And from Jennifer, if you don't have the capital to put together a tangible item as a thank you for donating or supporting, are there other options to say thank you?
Yeah, so I wouldn't put together a tangible item to thank people for donating. You can do that, but as a thank you for donating and supporting, like so one thing we've done is we've created a guide like this to attract new donors, get new subscribers, but then we'll send that same guide to our donors and just say, thank you for being a donor. We created this because we want to give people a taste of our mission and we thought it might help you. So I think creating a digital resource is way more cost effective, and it's a great way to thank people for supporting the organization. And yeah, so and really, like, what people, if they've donated, they are not less interested in something for them at that point, as much as they want to be told and shown that their donation was a wise investment, that they invested in your value proposition, and now they're hearing the stories of the results, and they're seeing that your mission is being fulfilled, or whether, like, if it's an instant donation page, like, here's how many people we were able to reach this month. So you can give people who donate like an update, like, thank you for supporting us to reach this digital resource to more people. We were able to get it into the hands of this many more people this month. So you can even give people who aren't supporting your mission yet like a thank you update.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love how you can sort of translate the service item that you're offering to prospect donors and applying it as a thank you to.
Yes, it's a great way to retain
multiple use. Yeah, in terms of like getting the ad grant, is it an application process? Is it just paying and receiving the sponsorship?
Thank you. It's just an application process. It's very simple and straightforward. You need to have an account with TechSoup, because that's who Google uses to validate your 501c3 status. So, and I believe TechSoup is free to set up an account with and to submit your 501c3 information to. So once you're validated there, then Google uses that. It's the application process has gotten easier over the years with Google. Microsoft, it's hard to say because they currently paused, so that process might change. It wasn't very difficult with Microsoft either.
Interesting. Okay, cool. Yeah. I liked that also the idea of finding like local giving days. Is there like how do we get in on local giving days? Do I ask Google?
I mean, you just start by looking up, your state or your city or region, like Giving Day. I've been doing a lot of asking around on LinkedIn of organization, like just to ask nonprofits, like, do you participate in a Giving Day? Which one do you participate in besides Giving Tuesday? And, just learning about, okay, what's out there. And, I happen to hear a lot of people say, oh, I do this one in Washington called Give Big Washington, but they're all throughout the country. And it's like usually run by a foundation. They're usually put on by a foundation.
Oh, that makes sense.
So like Give Miami Day is a Give Miami Foundation that kind of put that on.
I see. Yeah, no, it's such a great idea to tap into that. But yeah, I don't know if anybody has other questions. We're a little bit ahead of time. So up to you all. If you have any other questions, please take advantage. Chris, he's here with you right now. You have his attention. But if not, I know that you had his email. I think he dropped his email. Yeah, team. I'll repost it. If you have any other questions, maybe you think of something later, don't worry. This has got you. Okay. There's his email again. And definitely check out their quiz to see if you're ready for ad grants and their ebook. And then in terms of pause box, oops, sorry, I missed all these chats here.
What's a good budget to hire a company? I mean, you can find companies to help you with your ad grant programs for between $500 and $1,500 a month, generally. So it's a pretty wide range. It just depends on what you are getting with that too.
Yeah. Okay. Wait, if there's any others. Yeah, okay, yeah, I can repaste that that ad grants quiz. Sorry, I have like a bunch of stuff open here. Oops, maybe not.
Lindsay, if you'd like to get started before you have time to build an online guide, something quicker, that's a really good question. So you can always target your own organization's name. You can always target, the kind of nonprofit, your sector. You can always go for those keywords that are usually more competitive. There's no harm in doing so. You're not going to waste money on them. You can't, in a way, you can't go wrong trying. You could waste some time, I suppose, if you don't get any results. But that's a good way to start. And I didn't talk a lot about this, but I highly recommend considering creating a quiz if you can, as an organization, for your resource. If you can create some good questions to ask, you have some helpful responses and answers. A quiz is way easier to put together than a whole ebook. Even if your guide or checklist is 1 or 2 pages, a quiz can be actually easier than that. It just depends on whether you have graphic design skills in-house or you have to outsource that. But I like quizzes. People like to take them. They're more interactive. So how much time on average to manage? It depends. If this is new for you, then I would say you're going to need, it's a good number of hours up front, 10 to 20 hours up front, just getting a sense of what things are, where you're going, and then 3 to 4 hours a week on average after that, especially when you're in the learning phase and trying to figure out what you're doing. The one good thing about the grant is you aren't losing money if you're spending your time learning them. People are clicking, you're not losing any money. If you're putting money behind them, you don't want to waste that money. So
what is it that the management consists of, like a day-to-day?
Yeah, so it's adding new keywords, it's like testing and checking, conversion tracking, making sure the conversions are working and tracking as desired. It's creating new ads, it's reviewing what ads, the results on your day-to-day clicks and ads and stuff, and seeing, okay, what is there an ad that's not getting any impressions? What can we do to get more impressions for this? Sometimes there's a lot of troubleshooting that goes into that, especially in a grant account, because Google is not super, if there's a keyword that paying advertisers are targeting, they're not incentivized to give you impressions with your grant because Don doesn't make them money.
So you have to be creative and come up with ways to how do we show up for these kinds of themes or this topic or this keyword. Sometimes it might be like, okay, well, we really only want to target our city, but you can actually like expand the targeting to all of the US. And then once we start getting clicks for this, we start narrowing the range again, because there's always this idea of this positive feedback loop. Success breeds success. So if you are getting clicks, you're getting conversions on your ads, that helps Google and its algorithm learn when it should show your ads. And so if you're getting more clicks and stuff, that will help Google figure out when it should show your ads. And therefore, if you want to target a narrower like location, then you're more likely to get more results if you're having trouble getting your ads to show up. So there's a different like troubleshooting stuff, optimizing the budget. Like the goal should be, if you're running a grant program, is spend the grant as fast as possible. And once you're spending that grant, optimize it for conversions. Start getting the what action do we want people to take, whether that's getting a subscriber or going and watching this video or giving donating, like whatever it might be, making sure that once you're spending the whole grant, you can really learn faster. You can optimize faster.
Mm-hmm. And in spending the grant, does this have anything to do with like the placement of the ad on a Google search? Like just the location of like where the rank falls? Like, is that at all controlled on this?
Yeah, yes and no. So like, unlike the organic search results where it can show anywhere down the page, if there are ads, it's only the first 4 positions. And so, if you're paying for an ad, then it's based on like the ad quality, which is like, are people clicking on it? Is it effective? Does it have good keywords? Is the landing page good? And what are you bidding? Are you paying more? If you're paying more, then you're going to be at the top of those 4 ads or 3 or whatever. And with a grant, it's all based on quality. Since there's no real money at play, it's how high quality is your ad. So again, you have to start getting clicks to start getting more clicks and getting more conversions.
I see. Yeah, thanks for clarifying that. Looks like Lindsay has one more question here. Okay, just like commenting on that.
Paloma, you can monitor the ads as often as you want. The less you monitor them, the 2 things that can happen are just that quality goes down, results go down. And then if you go down far enough, like if you aren't hitting the minimum standards, then Google can pause your ad account. They can suspend it, but it's not like a violation of terms suspension. It's more like, okay, this is paused, you need to fix it, and then we'll let you start running ads again. So they're very kind about like restoring your ad account again, or letting you turn your ads back on if your ads are low quality. Lindsay, you mentioned like helping you build social media audience. I mean, the main issue with that is you can't send your ads to social media. You have to send the grant ads to your own website. So if you send them to your site and then you want them to go off your site back to social media, so a social media platform, you're going to lose people. Like the more steps that people have to take, the more likely that people aren't going to continue that process. And if your landing page says like, follow us on Facebook, like Google knows what you're saying, it can read. And so if your goal is a social media thing that's saying, don't use Google, use social media, it can work. But I had a client that they wanted to get people to join their Facebook group. So we had a page dedicated to like, here's what's in the group, join our group. And it was easy as clicking one button. There was no form to fill out. It was clicking a button that would take them to the group where they could join. And you'd be surprised how very few people clicked that button. And maybe there were other issues going on with that campaign. But if you want social media following, then probably the best platform to use is that social media platform to run ads.
Yeah, that is a good point. Thanks for bringing that up, Lindsay, and thanks for clarifying, Chris. I think we could spend
a lot of time
on this, right? Yep. There's so much to kind of dissect. But I mean, this has been a great discussion from everyone participating. Thank you again for joining us. Again, if you want to check out a donation form that does have the capability to add the pixel tracking, I'm just going to paste in the link for a demo for CauseVox, as well as the resources I had mentioned previously by signing up for our blog, just so you can get more of this information. I think Tracy has one more question in the Q&A before we sign off here. Are we able to set the thank you responses to generate donation receipt for tax purposes? So on CauseVox, yes, you can customize your donation receipt to be written up to tax deductible standards. You can add the thank you message. Even on our donation success screen, you can add a quick thank you note. So yeah, we make that possible for you. And then, yeah, finally, if you have any additional questions, I'm going to just drop in the support chat for CauseVox. Support chat. This is not what that is. It's a support email. It's a support email. But if you can reach us there. And yeah, thank you again, everyone, for joining us. And thank you so much, Chris. This has been just a wealth of information, even for me. And so thank you for everything. Enjoy the rest of your day, everyone. Take care.
Thank you.